What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And this video today is all about Colby Covington. Now, I was actually just thinking about Colby Covington as the election just concluded and Donald Trump was victorious. I assumed he would be out there and having something to say. I didn't see him much anywhere. Then I started looking at his social media yesterday, and he had posted a couple things on Instagram. And then as I was checking that, this interview with Submission Radio popped up. Now, Submission Radio is one outlet that Colby loves to do interviews with. They have very favorable interviews for him. They don't really press him on any of the things that he says, which I think he likes because he does like to play this character and constantly essentially lying. But I think back in the day, everybody accepted that most of the things he said were nonsense, but it was funny. And people still enjoyed his interviews and the outlandish things he would say and the trash talk, because he would still show up and he would fight and it would be interesting. And it was like his brand of nonsense was really there. At least I think that was my interpretation, because I did like listening to his interviews. His brand of nonsense was meant to be funny and entertaining. And I think what's happened with Colby is I don't even think he knows where to go anymore. He's gone so deep down this rabbit hole of playing a fake persona and putting on this quote unquote character that he denies, which is just more stupidity because it's obviously a character. But I guess part of the characters you have to deny it's a character. So he's just sort of stuck in this infinite loop. And then now he's gotten to a point where it's like a lot of this smack talk and nonsense that he would spew and say and all this negativity that he would put out there made a little bit more sense when he was in title contention. He really was one of the best welterweight fighters in the world. And I think that does not seem to be the case anymore, at least after that very subpar performance against Leon Edwards. I think he did say that there was a broken foot. Again, we don't know if that's true either. That may very well be a lie and part of the character and part of just pushing this narrative that he's better than he is or whatever it may be. But anyways, we've gotten to this point now where it seems like he's fallen off. He's still maintaining his spot in the rankings, and we don't really know where he's going to go next. The logical fight, I think, to be made was him versus Ian Garry. He had set it up. He had talked all the smack, and that made so much sense. But it was a fight that he was favored to lose in, and I think the UFC wanted that because they could have used Colby to build Ian Garry, which is what they traditionally do, to use the older fighters that are sort of aging out and basically not performing anymore, to use all the trash talk. It would have been perfect. It would have been perfect. It would have been amazing for the UFC, and I'm sure Colby turned down that fight. He claims he did, and he says some more nonsense. But obviously, that was the fight to make. It would have had so much buzz. He probably would have gotten a big payday from it. But I think he didn't want to do it because he knows with one more loss, I think it's going to be pretty problematic for him. I feel like the UFC is trying to get him to take one of these fights where he can push up another fighter, another star, as he starts to make his exit out of the UFC. And he's got so many haters now as well that kind of want to see him lose. So I think that's what the UFC wants, but I don't think he's giving it to them because he doesn't want to lose. He wants to win and extend his career and trying to make a little bit more money, which I understand. But anyways, we're going to dive into this interview and just sort of step through a lot of the things he says. I don't know what you guys think. I'd love to get your opinion, but to me, I'm just really losing my desire to listen to these interviews. It's just getting more nonsensical and is losing any of the humor, the comedic value that it used to have before. So let's first talk about Colby, and he's claiming that I don't know. Does anybody believe this? Listen to what he says about Shavkat and wanting to fight him when Bilal jumped out of UFC 310 with a toe infection. Check this out.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be out like 6 months or something like that. So, I was very tempted. And, if UFC would have called me, they know I'm a game time player, dude. I love doing the biggest and best business for the company. So I was excited.
Again, he said he was a game time player. Like he wanted to step in and fight Shavkat when Bilal went out for the interim title shot. So let's keep listening.
The opportunity to step in there, but, it looks like they're going a different route. They're going to go potentially with the Usman and shit rat fight. And
there's been nothing announced. There's nothing announced about Usman versus Shavkat. It's been highly speculated, and a lot of people are saying, I'm sure he could still throw his hat in the ring. This is obviously him. He doesn't want to because he's probably going to lose that fight. It's a difficult fight. It's a very tough fight. It's a tough fight for Bilal, for Usman, and probably especially for Colby. Maybe he's now at a point where he's lost some of his, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if he's really lost some of his cardio or some of his just like the physical advantages he's had because he's getting older and he's aging out. I don't know if he's 36 or 37 now, but He doesn't want the fight, maybe also because he knows if he does get a loss now, he's in major trouble and his stock is going to really tremendously fall. So whatever. But let's keep listening.
Good on them. That's okay. I'm right there still anyways. I beat someone. I'm right back in the conversation. So, I would love that. They know they can call me on a week's notice and I'm stepping up to the plate. So, I think it's a good matchup for me. And I want to fight everybody. I want to fight all the biggest and best fights. And I'm coming back a completely changed fighter.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. It's just getting kind of annoying, to be honest, in terms of, again, used to be funny that he was just saying stuff that you clearly know is not true. And it's almost like now, if you look at his face, he's not doing that. He's not saying these things with that bravado or that arrogance that was almost intentionally antagonizing. It's almost like now he's trying to get us to believe him. And it's just so clearly nonsense. Okay. We're going to jump to some of these other things. So the other thing he claims in this interview is that he wants to fight Della Maddalena next, JDM. I hope I said his name right. I always mess it up. But, I mean, this is such a difficult fight. He's undefeated, I believe. And a lot of people were talking about him taking on Shavkat at some point. There's no way this is the fight that he wanted. But listen to what he says.
Were the 3 names the UFC threw your way?
Yeah, so, we've been talking about, this fight with Jack Maddalena. I think it makes a lot of sense. He got a big win in my hometown in Miami last time he was out here. So, he has a little bit of a name out here, and, he's undefeated. He's hungry. He's fearless. He's an exciting fighter. So I think that's a fight that the fans will be intrigued with. I think it's a high-level fight. It's a top contender fight.
He's saying this, but I just don't believe it. He's saying that the fans would like it, and that's something he would want. But he's done this before. Like, he's just throwing that out there because he's trying to look like he's trying to take tough fights or challenging fights, but it's clearly not what he wants. What he's really trying to angle for, and you're going to see this in a second, is he's angling for to fight somebody in a lower weight class, either Dustin Poirier or Paddy Pimblett. And I don't know why. Maybe he feels like he's got a better shot, and he's even asking them to move up. He doesn't want to cut weight and go down. So I think that he feels like he'll have an advantage if they move up fighting a smaller guy. Anyways, let's keep listening.
That establishes who's the next contender for the belt. So, that's a fight that's out there. Another fight, that's being talked about, that this guy's running his mouth a little bit, which is weird because every time I see this guy, he puts his eyes down and he walks past me like a little bitch. But now he wants to throw stones in the media. I don't know if you've seen Paddy Pimblett. He's been throwing some stones. I can't even listen to the next part because he's like trying to create or manufacture a feud out of nothing, saying, oh, Paddy's saying some things. Remember back in the day when he said that about Wonder Boy? He's like, at the presser, I know one guy who can't keep my name out of his mouth is Wonder Boy. And they say he's such a nice guy, but he's saying some things about me. I think we need to fight and settle the beef. It's like, dude, come on. You're saying Wonder Boy's talking smack about you. It's, again, just his way of trying to position or angle for a fight that he feels like he's got an advantage. So that didn't come through. Now he's trying to fight Paddy Pimblett. This is so bizarre. And I just got to believe the UFC, from a business standpoint, why would they ever make this fight? It's a risky fight. You're moving. I mean, it just makes no sense. You're moving Paddy up out of his division when he's on the rise. He's trying to break into the upper echelons of the division, making his way up after a great defeat of Bobby Green not too long ago. Why would the UFC, I mean, yeah, it would do numbers, I suppose, but like, why would they risk having him move up, fight Colby, potentially lose, and then derail that train? I just don't think it would make sense. So I don't even think Colby. Normally, Colby always prides himself on being a company guy and on working with Dana White, listening to his boss, doing all this stuff. This just seems not at all to be something that would be in alignment with the UFC's goals and objectives, and to grow the company and to build Paddy as a star, because Paddy has still got huge star potential. So now he's just talking nonsense. I suppose you could, like, the one fight that I did say before that kind of does make sense is, I think he talks about that briefly in this interview, is I'm going to stop sharing because I can't listen to any more of it. It's really bad. It's really bad. I don't even like listening to his interviews anymore. But I guess the Dustin Poirier fight makes sense if Dustin wants it, because it's a grudge match. There's going to be a lot of smack talk, and I think the buildup will be interesting. God, if Dustin could win and then retire on that win, it would be so incredible. I mean, you have to believe, right? That's a fantastic way to go out, to take out the guy who's become so hated in the UFC and that so many people want to see lose, just after all the nonsense that he's talked and the negative things that he said. Even though I know people say Colby's a very nice guy and a really cool guy behind the scenes, but at what point do we have to say there's some
link, there's some connection between the character Colby and the real Colby. I mean, he's going out there and saying all these things. It's not like people are cool with it. He's saying outlandish things and upsetting people. It's the same. It's part of him now. This character, whatever persona he's taken on, it is part of him. He has to take some responsibility for it. So, you know, let's have him go against Dustin, and let's have Dustin get that win. The only thing is, if Dustin loses, that'd be devastating. That'd be pretty devastating. Obviously, it'd just be a horrible thing if it was Dustin's last fight to go on a loss to Colby Covington, somebody that he truly hates. But man, if he won, it'd be the sweetest thing ever. So anyways, that's all I got. Colby is back, but he is back in the worst way possible, sadly. So let's see. If it were me doing the matchmaking, it'd be Colby against Dustin. But before that, I would say Colby against Ian Garry. That's the fight that we've wanted for so long. Colby said so many negative things about Ian Garry at press conferences, about his wife, about all these things. Let's make that fight. I don't know if it'll be made because now Ian Garry's matched up already. So it's probably not going to happen. But anyways, that's all I got to say. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, make sure to click that like button. If you want to see more from the 10-7 MMA channel, make sure to click subscribe. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.